this is a sort of first foray into the sort of the chamber opening its proverbial doors and trying to get more people to understand what it is that we do and what it is that we can do for North Adams and for Northern Berkshires as a group. And I think that the best way to sort of begin this, Lisa, is there anyone on this call that you are not familiar with, that you don't
No,
know?
well, I guess I know just from the last meeting that we had.
Yeah. Was Michaela, were you on that? Yeah. Michaela and Nico were on that. Susie wasn't.
I've not
Do you,
met.
Kate, she might not know Kate.
and Lisa, I assume you know Amy.
Yep.
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thanks.
So, Kate, do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Kate might have walked away for a minute.
This is a really intensive meeting we're working on here.
Sorry.
Kate.
Sorry, I had someone call me on the office phone. Are we introducing ourselves?
Well, Kate, as it turns out, you're the only one that that Lisa does not know.
I guess I'm the only.
Nice.
I'm a regular, but I don't recognize me.
That's okay.
That's
I work for MCLA, so I'm the MCLA contingent on the board.
Great. Hi,
Yeah.
Kate. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Well,
do you know Lisa? She may not know who you are, Lisa.
Oh, I own Blackington Manor, the bed and breakfast on Massachusetts Avenue.
Well, I guess the best way, Michaela and Nico and I met earlier this afternoon, and we sort of talked about what the contingency plan would be if, in fact, it was all of us meeting here. But I think that Lisa, this is actually really great that we can have you in this conversation as well too, because I feel like your business model and hospitality in the bed and breakfast lends itself traditionally to so much privacy, and maybe we can start to ask you some questions about how the chamber can possibly help you either be more effective or offer you support or give you access to grants or things to help the Blackington Manor. So maybe not to put you on the spot, but this is an open discussion about how to sort of, as a member in this community, Liz, how do you think, what do you think about the chamber currently?
Well, the past meetings pre-COVID were the meet and greets. That was one thing that was one of the things that was nice about what I appreciated with being a member was that I did get to meet other business owners no matter what we did. And that was nice. I mean, I don't get out very often just because I run this by myself. So it was nice to be able to meet people. And I think it was, people from all over, different occupations in North Adams and Berkshire County, I guess, that people attended. But, just help us become more aware of what's going on in North Adams. That would be helpful. I do a lot of research myself to find what's going on this week, what restaurants are open this week, what days they're open. That's something that I've had guests, like I had some on Monday, and we couldn't find a restaurant for them to go to. So, which is fine, but I need to know those things. It might be nice to have a listing.
So if they couldn't find a restaurant, what happened?
Well, they had gone to Mass Mocha and had a late lunch at A-OK, which they loved, and a couple beers. So they were okay. And I offered to fix them something too. I had macaroni and cheese. No, fish sticks. No. If I know ahead of time, I'd be happy to serve people dinner. I don't do that, but I could easily do that. But, put on the spot, I was like, oh no, had some cheese and crackers, there's some wine. So we made do, but yeah. So, and that's just and I'm not telling businesses to be open. It's just nice to know what's open at what time. in the future. Those are some things. And that's, I'm comparing it to, I belong to the Williamstown Chamber too. And that's one of the things that they bring up each week, are the things that are open or things that are opening up, since they've been closed for the, during COVID. And that's been very helpful. I use that a lot. To let my guests know what's going on. So just an overall sense of what North Adams is doing presently and then in the future too.
Cool. So if, and in that light, how do you as a business owner like to be contacted? Like what's the source?
An email blast is great.
Yeah. Is that good for you?
Oh yeah. I can just quick look on it and there's links on it I can go to. And I've even sent things like that to my guests.
Oh, great. And Lisa,
the other thing that I follow is Berkshire Macaroni Kid. If I have kids, they have a new person that's doing that now, and she's really on top of things. And that's been good for me to follow. So as a business owner, those are the things I'm searching for so that I can tell guests, hey, this is open, or this is going on this weekend, or yeah. The other one is the Berkshire Hikes. I think it's the same woman that does the Berkshire Macaroni Kid. And that's been good and up to date. So anyway, I'm always looking for things but it's really nice as a business owner to have that blast. That I don't have to search too much.
Yeah, it might be cool, Nico, too, if we can coordinate with the business owners as members of the chamber to offer some promotion to make that a part of that email blast as well, too.
Yeah. Monthly
promotions that businesses can work together. I'd love to offer guests at the Blackton Manor discount at AOK. I think that'd be great.
Well, that'd be really nice. They frequent it often. I always send them down there. And the public and Trail House. It's interesting now, though. I don't know if you're finding this, but I'm just starting to get guests back. And even though most of our restaurants seem to be open, it's hard for them to get a seating.
Yeah.
Really hard. I mean, the last guest I had this weekend, or was it last weekend? The earliest was 9:30 at Metze, and where else did they look? I don't think the public they could get in. And then they ended up going to South County anyway for the afternoon, and tried to get into Alta, because I recommend that restaurant too when they were down in South County, and they couldn't get in till 9:30 there. So they ended up going to Mazio's at 4:45. So, but I thought, well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
We're getting people. It sounds like we're getting people in our, getting people to come for the weekends, which is great. But now we just need to make sure we can have a place for them to go to eat.
Well, and also places are only having so many people inside.
Right. And that's what I told them too, and they understand that because it's the same where they're from. So, but yeah, just something to look forward to, look towards as we start to get a little busier, hopefully.
Lisa, can I ask you, how long ago did you move here to North Adams?
2015.
2015. And was being a part of the chamber, or sort of like, how did you learn about the Chamber of Commerce when you first moved here? Like, what made it important for you to stay connected with this group?
Just as a business owner. I mean, I thought that's what you're supposed to do. I joined both of them right away, or tried to. Although no one ever followed. I think I've only paid a couple times. I've never really been followed up with dues. It's so,
That's why we're having this meeting, Lisa. As a matter of fact.
I need to pay today. I owe. I paid when I was asked.
We're looking to do some fundraising.
Okay. I'm good for it. No, it's just interesting. It was, it's like, well, maybe they're not taking dues this year. So maybe missed that email. I don't know. Anyway, but no, I started immediately just to become, I knew nothing really about North Adams. As far as having a business. So I felt like that was the best way to meet other people. And
when you're describing North Adams to potential guests or guests who just arrived, aside from Mass Mocha or the Clark, how do you describe this area and what's great about it?
Well, the hiking. Yeah. You know, they always ask about our downtown, and it's so hard to get. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting or one other meeting. It's so hard to get people past Mass Mocha. They'll go to the public, and that's it. They'll go to Mass Mocha and spend the day, but to get them to walk and go to, and they'll go to, Grazie's. They'll go to Grazie's too.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's very rare that I hear guests have gone to Main Street.
Okay.
And I tell them, yeah, there's some, there's a couple nice little shops to look around. But
yeah, South County's done a really has done a lot of work for making the main strips a lot more sort of accessible with more businesses.
Well, yeah, we need to get the businesses in. I'm not saying anything bad about the businesses that we do have, and I'm excited about the new bookstore, and I think that's going to really help. Little by little, if we can get more things like that somehow.
Yeah. Agreed.
As you know, I'm not telling you anything new.
Yeah, the landlords used to have a dedicated staff person recruiting businesses for the downtown storefronts, but he's been gone for a couple of years now. It used to be Dave Bond, and he would actively recruit tenants for the downtown businesses owned by Scarafoni, which was most of it.
And does that position no longer exist for a particular reason, Susie? Do you know?
I'm not sure why. It might have even been that it wasn't really Dave's actual job with Scarafoni. He was just really good at it and passionate about seeing new businesses in the downtown.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe a conversation to have with the mayor too, because the mayor has always said the city needs a job like that or a position like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a hybrid.
That's great. Lisa, I know that you're getting all the directions here, but and guys, if you guys have other questions too, please shoot it out to one another. But I think knowing that you have this group of people here in front of you, are you the type of business owner that does your own research when it comes to sort of finding out about grants or PPP or any of the other sort of money that's available, funding that's available for small businesses within the state, or is it helpful for you to sort of have all that information sort of compiled locally with the chamber? Has the chamber offered that information to you in the past?
Yeah, I've received updates. I think from haven't you guys sent out a blast? Is that what I've been getting from?
Yep.
From Franklin County CDC? Yeah. So those things, yeah, that's come up.
Well, Michaela, you've been including that in the Business Connector as well too, which is specifically for North Adams, yeah?
Yep. Northern Berkshires.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, that's been helpful. Although, being an independent business owner and not having any employees.
Yeah.
A little different than some of the other businesses, but it's out there. I saw that. It's good. That's good.
You're still eligible for all of that.
Yeah, yes, I saw, I have been I've researched it. Yes, thank you. Yeah. I've managed, things are going okay.
Well, maybe we can open this up to the rest of the group, since we've been sort of interrogating Lisa for the last half hour.
Where are the drinks, you guys? My goodness, at least we got wine or something at the other meetings we went to. To bring my own.
Well, feel free to start drinking anytime you like.
If you ask me any more questions. No.
Not always tea in the mug.
Yeah, tea.
Yeah.
Tea.
Tea. Yeah. Yeah. Infused water, right?
Right.
Well, I think I guess the biggest question is like the question that keeps coming up in conversation with other board members is, what good is the Chamber of Commerce in the greater scheme of things, and what is our goal? What's our mission within North Adams specifically? The Northern Berkshires, we take responsibility for raising the tide collectively and bringing everyone up for it. But we're all North Adams locals, or have a direct connection with North Adams. And I think if we start at the beginning with where we are, how do we all see the Chamber? What would be an ideal for the Chamber's uses and services offered to the community? And not necessarily excluding the things that we currently do.
Well, I like to think of what you said earlier when you were saying that chambers are like cheerleaders, and I feel like I was doing some marketing research on other chambers earlier after our conversation, and I feel like that's the easy thing to do, is to be a cheerleader, like just share what other people are posting. And I mean, that's what it is these days. It's just, social media marketing is at its peak. But I think to really get our boots in the ground or the mud or whatever saying you want to choose, we have to do something original and more genuine, and really touch the businesses that we support, instead of just cheering them along, because that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we owned a small business on Main Street, what we were looking for from the chamber was joint marketing opportunities for somebody else to be paying attention and looking for the collective bargaining of like us all being grouped together in larger ads to be promoted, not just within our community to our residents, but also throughout the county and to the region where our visitors are coming from, because we didn't have the time or whatever capacity as small business owners, also doing the other 10 things you have to do as a business owner and having young families, to do that stuff for ourselves. And we really hoped the chamber would do that for us and come to us with here's your marketing opportunity for the summer. It's going to cost you this much because we're all going to bargain together. This is what we're hearing. Like, here's what's happening this summer. This is where people are coming from. This is, what you could be open for. This is what people are looking for. Like, we were really looking for the chamber to do that research for us and present it to us, so we knew what to kind of be ready for as a business.
That's great, Susie. I like that a lot.
And then you obviously have to pay attention when the chamber gives you stuff, because that was also a problem. Like, I found like 90% of the stuff coming through our door were solicitations.
Yeah.
From other local organizations, and like you have this pile of paperwork at the end of the day at your business that you have to sift through to figure out what's important.
I mean, that was our conversation, Nico and Michaela and I had this morning. It was like, how useful is a postcard nowadays? Everything I get in the mail that isn't addressed to me from an actual vendor, or like it's a check in the mail or direct from a guest. Honestly, it just goes right into the recycling bin. I don't have much time for it. I read it and then it just goes away. But having that sort of that broader spread, I think, will make people pay attention, whether it's an email or whether it's a postcard or whatever the marketing format is. If there's a little bit more skin in the game, trying to collectively fight for everybody within the community. I mean, maybe not fight, but advocate for. And that's great.
Well, and I think we're at a sweet spot because, we're doing all this renovations to the chamber during the pandemic. So by the time we're able to gather outside and quote unquote table for the organization, I think that'll be much more useful for our time, because people will see us literally out there, with t-shirts, signs, whatever. Like, you have to do the Mountain One Bank thing and give away the free tote bags and stuff like that, just to be known. And we don't have that like face-to-face physical opportunity like right now. And the in-person networking events that Lisa's been to, I mean, I went to the last one and it was great, and I met so many people and gave them the postcards about the Business Connector and talked to them about the Be Found Online workshop, and that was super useful, and we got a lot of people there. So I think we're just in a hard spot right now with the pandemic, and I think we're coming out on the other side. So it's something to look forward to get the new faces out there and really promote ourselves as an organization that are doing things.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. I hope the more that we can the closer we get to meeting in person for these kinds of events, it's going to drastically improve our ability to sort of extend our reach. But I like Susie's idea as well too, which is to say that if we're advocating a marketing plan for the greater businesses within Northern Berkshires together as a group, and we can coordinate with Pittsfield and with Dalton and with all the other towns to sort of get a unified message out there that when you come to the Northern Berkshires, there's so much access to information, to be, really, really become incredibly transparent on what it is to do here. Any other thoughts, guys? That one only took 4 minutes.
No, I have a thought. I was talking with a business owner who has customers who come from South County to her business and Pittsfield. And I think that what sometimes we forget is that people are actually coming here to, a practitioner or to, for a certain purchase that they can't get otherwhere, or they, because they have a relationship with a business owner. And there's an opportunity there for that business to partner with other businesses who have the same kind of customer, and make, kind of make a thing out of it. So I don't know if there's opportunities for that kind of
it's interesting. So doing a lot of marketing for city things in my normal job here, there's a lot of places that are everyday spaces that you want to be able to advertise and market because they make the most sense, like grocery stores, pediatricians' offices, and things like that. And a lot of these places will not allow marketing. So like trying to get the information out in those locations is impossible because they don't allow that to happen as a policy of their business. Which I get, because then you have entire wall covered in people's advertising. But
maybe there's another way, I wasn't thinking of doctors' offices, but maybe there's another way of being innovative to build, it's just like Aaron was talking about this in the workshop, people would come for one night. Now you're trying to get them to come for 2 nights.
Yeah.
If you're coming for one appointment or something, what's something else you can do? Or, I don't know. That's why I was thinking that North Adams, and if North Adams partnered with Adams, people coming from Pittsfield are driving through those towns, and that maybe there's some kind of interesting collaboration that could happen.
Yeah, some of the cultural institutions do that right now. They have package deals with the intention that each of them is maybe a day trip, but to visit both of them, you'd have to stay overnight. So they're trying to push overnight stays and weekend stays in the Northern Berkshire area and regionally. We are working right now, we have a Mohawk Trail Woodland Partnerships grant that we're working on an outdoor recreation series, which will have 6 brochures, and they're targeting things like 3 days in the Berkshires, hiking all seasons, couples retreat, what to do with a family when you're here, outdoors, things like that, water sports. Those should be all ready by the end of June, well, the end of the fiscal year, like everything.
So then where will we get that information and who's involved in that, Susie?
Once they're actually printed and available, we'll be able to bring them to you. They would be dropped at hotels. They will be available downtown. There will be some large maps in the areas of the 5 locations that we've kind of identified as regions of the city that are access points to the outdoor hiking and things. But again, that won't be ready till probably late June.
Is there any way we could get sort of sample itineraries to the Explore North Adams website? Like if you're here for a day, like.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be produced and put there, but yes, that's absolutely possible to have them there.
Something that I work with a few thrift shops in the Franklin County area, and they share a lot of together. They talk a lot among each other, and there's these other places where they have booths. People rent booths, those kind of indoor flea market kind of things. And some are antique themes. And what they're starting to do is have a trail.
There is an antique trail map. Yeah. Like it's an actual brochure.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so people are doing it
Like
for
that.
antiques, but they're doing it for thrift shops or,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
different criteria.
Or breweries. I think people in other, I've been to
Mm.
in different, Colorado, Wyoming has done, brewery where you go from brewery to brewery, and that's
And they
kind
have
of
a bus over here.
oh,
You have a bus?
They have a bus and they start at one brewery and they take you to a bunch and then you end up at the back at the, so nobody's
Cool.
driving.
you just drive around Masmoka once and then
Yeah,
or you could go
exactly.
over to you could go to break room. Yeah, no, but those I'd love to see things like that. That'd be cool.
Great.
You talked about hiking. That's a big interest, even in my hikers all the time. I had people here this weekend that were hiking, and we were just right off the Appalachian Trail. It might be neat if we could do an end-to-end hike or something. I did that in Europe with my daughter and had a
Oh,
ball.
great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is big in Europe, and Vermont, I think, has.
Yeah, Vermont has one. They just started. Yeah, yeah. And I noticed that Vermont just started the walking tours tour. That's an international thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
maybe something to look at because that's a big deal. It's literally walking tours if you look at it online, and Vermont's part of that now.
Yeah, we used to,
There's
so our local historian, Paul Marino, used to do walking tours, like historic walking tours of North Adams, which were really cool. I don't think his health allowed him to do it, but if somebody else wanted to pick that back up, I'm sure he's got the tours all set and in place. I think there's actually an online, doesn't MCLA have oh, sorry, Kate's gone. There's an MCLA app
Yeah.
that does walking tours of historic downtown North Adams, I believe, and historic North Adams.
That's
You
really cool.
This one is that where they help them find a place to stay.
Oh, cool.
And it's if you look at it, I think it's more like the hiking type thing, and then you can walk around the areas and see what's what. So it's a pretty big deal.
Is it like a national site that you can just join into the
It's international.
footprint of it?
It's
Okay.
internet. It's worldwide.
Okay.
I'll
Is that
send you
something
the-
that the inns would like be involved in directly as opposed to the chamber being like involved in, you know what I mean?
Well, I can't imagine why the chamber wouldn't be interested in
I'm not
this.
saying we wouldn't, I'm just saying it sounds like if it's an ins to in, do they like sign up themselves or is it something that the chamber like puts together?
I guess I don't know.
Okay, I'll look it up.
That may be not chamber, you're right.
I mean, it might be, I just wasn't sure if I'll look it up.
Maybe
Great.
we can talk Massimoka into commissioning a Janet Cardiff piece that walks people off campus into downtown North Adams.
Yeah, it's a
That's
great
a neat
idea,
idea,
Nika.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an artist friend who has been working on a project in downtown Manhattan in the financial district. And as part of these sort of walking tours that Nika just alluded to with the Janet Cardiff, is that her name? She did a very famous one in the one I know about is the one in New York that she did right near Central Park. And it was right on this sort of corner that does not have a lot of activity, but it wasn't a tourism based thing. It's an art piece, but there is a way to sort of discuss it. And because there is so much history within downtown North Adams that is no longer there, it might be really cool to have a walking tour, but as a historical guide. The chamber could own the hosting the internet hosting site, and people could just hit one of the wayfinding signs with their QR code, and that could bring them onto an audio tour of downtown.
Oh,
Lisa, will you pass along the email or not the email, the website that you were talking about?
Yeah, I think it's called.
I can't find it easily, but
I think it's called Country Walkers. I'm looking for it right now.
there was actually, Massimoka was working with an artist a couple of years ago that was supposed to do a hopscotch path that went from Massimoka out all the way down into the downtown and around the downtown.
Oh,
and
that's really neat.
Yeah, I can't remember why it didn't end up happening. It didn't end up happening. We came out and they scouted and they like scrap the surfaces and things, and it just ended up not following through for some reason. I'm not sure what happened with their schedule, but they definitely think about those things. I mean, Mass Milk is always pretty proactive in thinking about ways to connect.
Yeah, the biking thing, that was really a big deal too. That when that started, that's a neat thing. When they would do the biking. That's not good. There, this is the site. Whoa, that's big.
Thank you.
And that's the one specifically for Vermont.
Awesome.
But it's a worldwide thing, countrywalkers.com.
There's a lot of possibilities.
What are some keywords that come to mind when you guys think of North Adams besides Mass Mocha? Like if it was like North Adams, like 3 or 4 words that just like spread across.
Old Milltown.
Hiking. I'm surprised at the number of people that come up just to hike.
We have a lot of hiking in North Adams in the surrounding area that I think even a lot of local folks don't think about.
Yeah, it's true. You know what else I think of often is 3-state borders.
Yep, tri-state.
Is that
that's the other thing. That's right. Yeah.
We're on the corner of Vermont and New York, and there's access to a lot of really specific things. I mean, it might even be interesting to sort of talk to the chamber in Bennington or in Troy, or try to get connections. We're really close to a lot of stuff, And if Great Barrington's an hour away, extend that radius out another, 360 degrees.
Well, Aaron, I have people that stay here to get away from the craziness of South County, but yet go to Tanglewood and go to what? You're laughing.
No, I'm laughing because it's crazy that the South County.
They don't mind the drive. They don't mind the drive. I had guests this weekend that went down. I didn't even know this gallery existed, but there's a glass blower in outside of just on the border of New York. Have you seen that?
There's one in Manchester too.
And they spent a ton of money. I can't believe it. They showed me the things they bought and it was beautiful. It's like, I've got to get over there. It's just outside of Hancock.
I think that's great to hear. There used to be a glass blower in Shelburne Falls that closed. So it was always very interesting to go visit in the kind of creations they had.
Yeah.
They were there and loved it. They were really impressed with his work. They were the ones that couldn't get into Alta and ended up at Mazzio's for dinner.
Wow.
So I'd just like to add, I think just you folks just mentioned about, the different places within an hour. When I see clients, looking for real estate in the Berkshires, I have always promoted it from North Adams that within an hour's drive in any direction, whether you're going to go to Albany or Manchester or Brattleboro, Whitingham, and even Mount Snow for skiing, all the way to South Berkshire. Within an hour's drive, we really have, the extremes of you can catch some city life and you can catch some lakes and kayaking. You can go either way. And a lot of people who come to North Adams and Northern Berkshire don't actually realize that, that radius and perimeter where all those things exist until we tell them. I mean, I think we're really lucky in that sense. So
that's a great point. That's a great point, Michael.
We are, and we don't have the traffic that's there in the summertime in South County.
Very true.
So people, the guests that I've had have mentioned that they like staying up here because they don't have to deal with the traffic. And they'll go to plays. They'll go to. That would be a neat thing too. We've got the South County plays, but Vermont also has a play group, or did. I've had guests that have done their own little tours. They've gone to the plays in South County and then they go up to Vermont. And I didn't even know Vermont had that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they have Dorset Theater and the one that's in Bennington.
Where was the other one?
Dorset Theater.
Okay.
And I like the little amateur, the theater barn in Lebanon, short trip, and they have a nice little steel building. They do a great little job over there too.
And
Well,
then
that's good to know.
small theater companies over on this side of the mountain and in the hill towns.
Yeah.
So I mean that's like a whole nother, trail.
Culture.
Yep, it's a whole nother thing that is not being heavily promoted as a thing to do.
So the theater barn isn't far, probably, from the glass blower that you just mentioned. It's in the same direction. So coincidentally.
That's great. Anyone else have any thoughts about how we can expand and
We get a
offer
lot
more?
of people who are on doing cider tours, and they go to apple orchards. I'm, farm and food is, as
Yeah,
you
that's a
know,
big
it's just so
deal.
popular.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Blend farm food and crafts together. Um, so it is interesting to see what the trends are.
Yeah.
I opened up the manor for Airbnb, and I had several guests from New York City that came often this summer. Thank God. No, anyway, it kept me open. But they were really into seeking out the farms that they could take their kids to, and Gamble Garden, because I serve their yogurt. They went up there, and they went Cricket Creek because I serve things from there. So they were happy to be able to see these things that they don't get to see all the time. But yeah, they also, the things that I serve here, I really try to focus on the businesses and the farms are featured in our area. And my guests have been to East Mountain Farm. They've been to, I mean, that's pretty cool. They love that. They think it's the coolest thing to be able to go up and get some meat up there. The Gamble Garden yogurt, even though they don't buy it, they've purchased it online and had it sent. And Tunnel City coffee is another thing they pick up. So they're getting out there. They're really searching for things that our area has, and they're finding it basically on their own, which is cool.
That's great.
Lisa, are you members of One Berkshire at all?
I am.
And do you are you involved? Do you get involved or attend any of those programs or?
I just read the blasts that they send out. I've been to a couple of their meetings over the years, but it doesn't really, it's just so much. I read I belong because they can advertise for me.
And are you part of a B&B group association?
A national one, I am.
But
And
not
only
a
to
local,
find out, excuse me?
but not a Massachusetts, a Western Mass one or Mohawk Trail one.
I didn't know there was one.
Yeah.
Let me know if there is. I didn't know.
There was a Mohawk Trail association. I don't know if it still exists.
Yeah, no, I belong to the national one just to kind of keep up with what's going on. And
Lisa, not to dig into One Berkshire too much, but because I'm not a member, I'm not familiar with their structure. Do you receive results on how they market for you and what that reach looks like?
I not specifically, and I bet I could find it if I'd ask, but I didn't. It's just so overwhelming. It's so much. I belong to, all right, I get information from South County specifically, and that's been helpful for me to look at for my guests, but I don't know. It's just there's just a lot, and sometimes it doesn't really, I feel like, pertains to me. It's not as much as what I need right here, right now.
Right.
Which is the weekly e-blasts that I get from either South County or Williamstown.
I know Williamstown.
Again, yeah, those are more helpful to me right now. But anyway,
Well, we're almost at an hour, if you can believe it. I guess if anyone doesn't sort of use this, we'll sort of use this last little couple of minutes here just to, if anyone has any sort of thoughts or comments about the chamber in general. Mike, you weren't here for all of it, but essentially, Mikhail, if you can send out these notes to the board members, we're just sort of thinking about how our role can be more clear to our community, and that we can start to put together a fundamental list of how the Chamber of Commerce in North Adams can best serve its community within North Adams and also the Northern Berkshires. So if you have any thoughts, Mike, it'd be great if you could just sort of mention those now, and then we'll send out an email to sort of summarize this meeting.
Yeah, I guess my nickel opinion, I mean, I think we're starting. I mean, what we're doing is all the right stuff now that we've been able to hire for some positions to reach out to some folks. But I really think it's that outreach to businesses for help. I just think most of the businesses, at least that I talk to, aren't aware that we're there to help them. So I think that's the biggest piece, is just marketing ourselves, and not necessarily marketing ourselves. It's just that personal outreach to them, whether it's a mailing or a phone call. And I think once we get that energy of people, once we hear from our constituents and their business leaders in the community of what they need, we can better. It'll be I think it's their opinion that will help guide us. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Well, I guess unless anyone else has anything else to sort of add to this, I'd just like to thank Lisa and everyone for taking an hour to sort of continue this conversation. I know the Chamber has a rich history within North Adams, but I think that there's enough forward momentum within the city itself and within the Northern Berkshires for imminent growth that the Chamber can do more. And I think that's what these meetings are really about, is to establish how exactly we can best be spending our efforts and our resources throughout the Northern Berkshires. And it really should, if it doesn't feel this way, it really should be an open door policy, whether you're on the board or whether you're just a business owner in the community. I feel like that we can't hit that button hard enough to make sure that everyone feels comfortable to reach out.
I think it also raises, something to ponder too, and we've talked about this, is residents. How can residents get involved with the chamber or business community? Because they're the constituents, they live here because of the lifestyle, and the business community helps create that lifestyle.
Yeah, and we're not really elected by them, so it's good that we sort of have the broadest scope that we possibly can to help as many people as possible. Well, I thank everybody for taking the time. I think we'll.
Thank you. I'm excited to see all of you guys. This is nice to have fresh faces.
I know, right. It's good. Well, you know where we are, and these meetings are going to happen frequently, so keep joining. It's fun. See where it goes.
Maybe we can meet outside soon, socially distanced, in person with those.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Did you see the weather just now? Oh my gosh.